Get a £5 free bet every week with Offer Club from William Hill. Simply stake a total of £20 or more across the week on pre-match football accumulators with 4 or more selections, and you'll get a £5 free bet on the Friday. Join William Hill Offer Club on mobile or online now.
This is Kugan Cassis for iFull TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're at the press conference here finally for Fury-Klitschko 2. Frank, it must be a relief first of all that this fight is now done and set for the 29th of October.
Well, it certainly is. It's been a very, very long, drawn-out process, and thankfully we got it over the line, and hopefully, we'll see a great fight on the 29th.
Quite notably, just in your backdrop, this is going to be shown on Boxnation box office on Sky.
That's correct. It will be available on Boxnation to Boxnation box office channel 490, and all Sky subscribers will be able to use their button, press the button to buy the fight. So it's available to all of those if they wish to watch it, and the Sky subscribers will see it as per normal.
So, any idea on pricing? What this will be priced at?
We'll have a word with George after the presser, and he can give you the completely how they can watch it, how people can view it and watch it there, and the cost and so forth.
So obviously, I know we spoke about this quite a few months ago, and it seemed to have gone a little bit quiet. But you've obviously been working on things behind the scenes in order to get this done and ready.
We said we'd do it, didn't we? We said we'd do it.
You said we'd do it, yeah.
Somebody kept asking when the date would be. Well, it's the 29th of October is the first one.
Obviously, it was a disappointment that the 9th of July show, due to Fury's injury, couldn't happen. You spent a lot of time, effort promoting the show and building that up. Do you feel like you're on a stage where you have to sort of rebuild that promotion for that fight?
We've had a little bit of bad luck in fights that have fallen apart over the last year, and it's been it's been a bit of a downer for us, but we're behind the scenes. You just said we've been working very hard, and we've got this one off the ground, and we've got another one that we'll be announcing next week, and another big fight, which I hope we'll be announcing involving Billy Joe Saunders.
So Billy Joe Saunders will defend his middleweight crown on this card.
Correct.
And you're just in the middle of obviously working out opponent-wise who that will be.
Yeah. So he'll have it come out. Hopefully, comes through that, and then I want him out again in January or February, and I hope that he'll be facing Golovkin. Coming
to that, obviously Golovkin fought over the weekend here in England at the O2. Was that a predictable outcome for you?
For me happened? It was, because I always felt that the weight, irrespective of what Kell came in weighing on the night. The fact is, this guy's a natural middleweight who's. I don't think he's ever 10 pounds over fighting weight at any time, so he's always match fit. And I always felt it was a tough call for him. You look at fights and you think fighters, and you think, what can they do? What have they got in their armoury to match Golovkin? And I didn't think Kell had anything there that would give him any trouble. Golovkin's a fantastic boxer. He's got a fantastic jab, and he's one of those guys as well that will get down in the trenches. He'll take a shot to come back, to land his own. And I think with Kell, he just took Kell's best shots and just shrugged them off. And it was all about, so you've thrown your best shots, that's it. Now we get down to business, and that's exactly what he did. And he just took him apart. And at the end, Kell's very brave, and I thought Dominic Ingle was made a very sensible decision. A very sensible decision. He was in quite a bit of trouble by then. I think he said his eye. He had a problem with his eye. He was seeing 3 or 4 of Golovkin. Well, it's bad enough you see one of them in front of you, but without seeing 3 or 4 of them, and that for him was we talked about it before the fight. I just could never see what he had to beat him, and I think that Dominic done him a fantastic favour in stopping the fight. And some of those remarks that Chris Eubank and his son have made since, I think they are beyond stupid. Chris Eubanks' senior is hard work, and we all know he says and does silly things, but he makes a bigger prick of himself with the comments about we don't, on his son, was it we don't have towels. They've been, his dad and him have been through some very tragic events in boxing, Michael Watson and Nick Blackwell, and you think they would have learnt something from that and learnt what boxing's all about. You know, if that was my son in there, that tail would have come in very, very quickly. You know, when you look at the fight, you see Dominic in that fourth round, he's put his tail over his head and he's whispering to him. You can bet your life he was saying, I'm going to give you one more round and then I'm going to pull you out, because that is how the fight was heading. But I just, you know, this nonsense with Eubank, he doesn't have tails, he doesn't have a pen, and he doesn't have a tail. He doesn't have a pen to sign contracts, and he hasn't got a tail. And he keeps jumping on the bandwagon with everybody, you know. Bills wants to fight. He did a video yesterday, he said he wants it, and I'm meeting with Tom Loeffler today, and we're going to try and iron this out and get this fight over the line, subject to Bill coming through on the 29th.
Golovkin's seem relatively, from the outside, quite easy to deal with. If obviously it's got to be right for Billy Joe as well, as much as anything.
Listen, you know, Bill going to that fight as an underdog. The difference between Bill and Kell Brook is Bill is a natural middleweight. He's a natural middleweight, and he's a good boxer. And I think if you've either got to be a phenomenal puncher to beat Golovkin, or you've got to be a really, really good boxer. Because Golovkin's both of those. And I just, for Bill, he's got great boxing ability. If I didn't think he had great boxing ability and a great chin, then I wouldn't be making that fight for him. But he wants it, so we're going to do our best to try and make it happen.
I don't know if you saw the post-fight press conference from Saturday night when Golovkin was asked about the possibility of Eubank, that fight happening. His response was Billy Joe Saunders or Canelo. That was, you know.
Well, it ain't going to be Canelo in.
No, of course not. But those were the fights that he would prefer to have.
Listen, he'll fight anyone, and you know, that's the same with Bill. Bill wants that. Bill wants a big fight. He wants big money fights as well, and that's the big money fight for him. So let's try and get it on. Let's hopefully get it made, and it'll be another great night and a fantastic event in British boxing. We do that, you know.
For the end of the year, or next year?
Next year, January or February. January or February, but we're going to get it on and do that. Hopefully, get it on, I say, and it's you know, that's really what we're trying. What we have been working. You know, we've been quiet, I know, in as much as what we've been saying over the last few months, but that's been because how we wanted it. You know, it's very important for us to get this Boxnation box office up and running. It's very important for us to broaden our have people can watch fights, and you know, the first move that we've done, which now is successful, is that Sky customers will be able to watch our fights on Boxnation box office.
Just going back to Billy Joe Saunders, there was talk of him obviously fighting on this week's card in Dallas between Canelo and Liam Smith, and an opponent that was mentioned was Gabriel Rosado. For what reason, from your side, Frank, did that fight not happen?
Because we never agreed to fight Rosado, and you know, and I've got to be honest, I don't want to go back into all that from months ago over what we're doing now. He's fighting on the 29th. That's all gone by the wayside now. So it's an irrelevance. I never, you know, it was the deal I did with Golden Boy is that I would pick who he fights, and not anybody else. And I didn't pick him, so that was that. Not
to go over whatever again, but in an interview we done recently, you also told me that you would never ever work with Chris Eubank again. Chris Eubank's facing Tommy Langford on your bill.
I said I'm not working with him. He's not the manager.
Yeah.
The manager's Ronnie Davis. I won a purse bid, and I'm working with Ronnie Davis, who's the manager, and Chris Eubank. I haven't got a deal with Chris Eubank. I haven't got to negotiate any contracts. It's a standard boxing board of control contract. What I am doing at the moment is the boxing board of control. We've put a complaint in because we've given him 4 different dates for press conferences, and he's not attended them, and that is not acceptable. But that's typical Eubanks. That's the old man and the kid. You know, I'm fed up saying it's the old man. It's the kid as well. Because Junior can't be such a moron. He doesn't know what's going on in his career. If he don't, you know, if he's twittering and so forth and reading and responding to things, then obviously he knows what's going on. So they're as bad as each other.
You anticipate more headaches ahead of the 22nd in Cardiff?
No, because every time he don't show up for a press conference, I made it very clear I will deduct a sum of money from his purse. He's in breach of his agreement. I don't want it. He's the only person we have any. Who else do we have any problem with? Can you tell me do you ever heard of circumstances with any promoter or any other? You never get it, do you?
No.
It's only when you're dealing with him. It's only him. Everything they do is a nightmare. And the old man, he tells the kid, this is good publicity, you know. It's bad publicity, but it's still good for you. He actually thinks this is good for him.
Just finally, obviously a huge fight for Hughie Fury on this bill
Yeah.
against the undefeated Andy Ruiz. It's a real step up for Hughie Fury.
It's a big step up for him. He's fighting an undefeated fighter, but Peter, his dad who trains him, he feels he's ready for it, and he feels he's ready for the challenge. He had a bit of a problem with his with a skin condition that he had, and we got that sorted out. We sent him to a specialist who thankfully got rid of it, and that was quite debilitating for him because what he was taking for it didn't make him feel good. So now he's 100%, and he gets himself into a number one position if he wins the fight, which would make him the mandatory challenger to this one. So it's quite good, though, isn't it? It's quite intriguing.
I spoke to Tyson last night. He actually, I mentioned about that situation if you would become mandatory. I said to him, obviously you wouldn't fight him, would you? He went. This was his response. He went, "Why wouldn't I?"
They're not the Klitschkos. They're not the Klitschkos.
All right, Frank. Listen, thanks for talking to IFL TV. I think. Listen, we'll both be in Dallas this week for Liam Smith,
Yeah,
so
there's a load of stuff
we'll catch up and do a bit more stuff in depth
I look forward
in
to
America.
What's up, man?
Thank you very much,
Cheers.
Frank.
£5 free bet every week with Offer Club from William Hill. Simply stake a total of £20 or more across the week on pre-match football accumulators with 4 or more selections, and you'll get a £5 free bet on the Friday. Join William Hill Offer Club on mobile or online now.